Welcome to the Evolving Expert podcast, where we meet at the intersection of business strategy, conscious leadership, and aligned living to support who you are becoming. I'm Vanessa Emerson and host of the podcast, and here's what we have for you today. We are going to spend the next 30 to 45 minutes with one of my dear friends, and I don't know if she knows this, she's somewhat of a mentor to me. This is Dr. Laura Brenner, who I know from the work I've done in dentistry. And Laura had dreamt of becoming a dentist all of her life, became a dentist, and got several years into it, but I think about a decade into it, before leaving clinical dentistry to become a blogger, a speaker, and a certified professional coach. She actually wrote a blog, which maybe I should wait and let you tell us about that in a few minutes, Laura, but that really was what opened the doors to a whole new direction for her. I'm so excited that Laura's here to us today because she is in alignment in her business and in her life with everything we're going to be talking about. She's a perfect example of each of those three areas that we discussed. So at the time she wrote that blog article, that opened this gate, and now she is has her own career coaching business, Lullabies Career Coaching, where she guides dental professionals in designing the careers that they want on their terms, where they can live joyfully and in balance. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Laura.
Thank you, Vanessa, for having me. I can't wait for our discussion, and you are a mentor for me, so it's great that we can do that for each other.
Isn't that fabulous?
Yeah.
Thank you. I really do. I believe that we have so many colleagues that I would think would fall in that boat. Dentistry is a great place to be.
Mhm.
But you know where we normally start this podcast is with either a mindfulness exercise or a breathwork exercise. I love hearing what others look to for ways to be able to stay in alignment. Is there one that pops to the top for you?
I've been realizing I learn a lot about myself every day, and I've learned that I am actually quite disconnected from my body.
Mm.
And that can create challenges because it's hard for me to know intuition, and sometimes I don't even know what I think or feel. And so one of my new favorite routines is sometimes in the morning I'll put on some fun music and I'll just dance. So if I'm making coffee, I'll dance while I'm making the coffee, but something to get me to kind of move the energy in my body. And that has been really fun.
Oh, I love that. And thank you for that embodiment advice and that reminder. I mean, we really could do a little dancing while we're doing our while we're doing our podcast. Anything that gets us moving is so good. Thank you for sharing that. And we'll want to encourage everyone to maybe get up and move as they're listening to this podcast. Let's jump right into our the meat of what we want to discuss here, which we start with business and career strategy. And is there one particular instance you can think of, or a strategy or something that has helped you with your business or career? Is there something that comes to mind?
Yes, and I will jump into this 10 reasons your dentist probably hates you to blog post as part of this story. And what happened was I didn't know what to do with my career. I practiced dentistry for 10 years and I just was lost. And through a series of events, I ended up starting a blog. And one day I found a blog titled 10 Reasons I Hate the Dentist. So I basically wrote an open reply titled 10 Reasons Your Dentist Probably Hates You Too. And it went
Love you.
viral. It was an accidentally perfect title, right? That just
Yeah.
did everything. And it literally went viral overnight.
Wow.
And with that, I made a lot of contacts and I heard from a lot of people. And one of the things that I've found that really has been the backbone of my business is relationships. And so from the minute I wrote that blog post, I didn't know I was going to be a coach. Every time someone emailed me, I emailed them back. And over the years, I just naturally built relationships like that because I cared about the topic. You know, when you go through something like that, it was very painful. And so people will sometimes say to me, "Oh, you know, your blog, you've helped me so much." And I'm like, "You've helped me so much," because I was the one going through that divorce.
Mhm.
And having those people cheer me on who I didn't even know was supporting me. So I always felt very grateful. So taking that, I built a community. And then when I decided to become a coach, I already had connections. And throughout growing my coaching business, being genuine and you teach this a lot, Vanessa. You're so good at sharing this, like giving first in your relationships makes all the difference in the world. And to me, that's the best way to grow a business. Forget marketing, forget ads. It's like build your community, build your relationships, be genuine and be sincere. And then it's fun too.
I agree with you. I think that's probably the most powerful strategy for most businesses because you're building a community of people that that know, like, and trust you, and that you know, like, and trust. Thank you for sharing that. Before we talk about conscious leadership, could you tell us a little bit more about what is it that you do? How do you help people with career coaching?
Yeah, well, and
What does that
then
mean?
I'm going to tie in a career strategy with it. Can I? One more?
Please.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so often if you're starting something, the pain that you experienced is a pain that someone else experiences, and
Yeah.
you can help create a solution for that. And that's what I did. And I was very unhappy in clinical practice, and there was nobody to hold my hand and walk me through that. So I did it by myself, and I did work with a other coach, you know, and a coach outside of dentistry. We didn't have coaches in dentistry, isn't that funny? And
Oh,
I worked with a therapist, and you know, I did all this work and realized that I was so passionate about it be I and passion, well, that's a different topic. Passion's a funny thing, because we sometimes don't know what our passion is. But when you experience something like that, I knew I didn't want other people to have the same pain I had. So that drove me. So I began blogging and I created a community where really it's about you get to choose. So I help people connect with who they are and discover what they want so that they can design their careers however they want. And if they want to leave dentistry altogether, or if they want to leave clinical and find something non-clinical, if they want to design dentistry differently and do, you know, part-time and do something else, a side gig, then I just help them create that life for themselves. And it's a bigger process than we often think it will be.
isn't it so fascinating what life does? Like, life guided you toward dentistry. Like, you'd wanted to be a dentist for I don't know how long, right? And then you get into it and you're like, this is not the thing. But yet it kind of needed to be that in order to get to where you are. And I just find it so fascinating. And also the hope that that would bring to others, that maybe they're in a place where they're not quite where they're listening to their gut, they're following those steps, but they get there and it's not like the feeling that they were hoping for, that understanding that at some point you're going to tie a big bow on this thing. It'll all
Yep.
come back around.
Yeah. And we think it's going to be something that it ends up not being for some of
Right.
us. And that's
Amen.
okay.
Yeah.
You know, I like to think of it as like, did you ever, when you were younger, go to Europe and do the Eurail pass? Did you ever do
No.
that? So when I was growing up, you know, post college days, you could get a pass and you could use it unlimited times and travel all around Europe on the train. And we would end up in the coolest train stations. And we always think that dentistry or whatever career we choose is going to be the last stop. And I think, why can't it be just one of the stops along the way that gets us to our next stop?
Right. I was talking with a colleague this week who is mid 60s and was talking about selling their business. And my assumption had been maybe it's retirement time, but actually, no, it's moving on to the next business time. And that's pretty exciting for someone who wants to do that, to be able, there's, like it says, not the last stop professionally. And really, for so many of our colleagues that listen to this podcast, being speakers and consultants, I mean, we can be doing that into our 70s or 80s, as long as our body and our brains hold. I mean, really, it's exciting. And I would assume too, many people could move into that speaking or consulting realm from whatever industry they're in.
Mhm.
That's a great next train stop. I love that train stop analogy. That's really powerful. So you were suggesting blogging as a strategy in there. So summarize for me the the business growth strategy.
So blogging is a great one. You just have to be consistent.
Yeah.
So that was one thing, was when I didn't have anything, I said I didn't know what to do. So I had time and I had set myself up. I actually, okay, I was doing weight loss coaching on the side, but it wasn't taking up a lot of my time. And I had time to blog. I made myself make sure I wrote a blog post every other week, sometimes every week, because I needed to make sure that I wasn't pressuring myself. We're all different. Some people need that goal, that pressure. I'm the kind of person who, if I have that, it might make me not want to do it and become
Yeah.
resentful and then give up. So part of this work is figuring out what serves me best, right?
Mm.
So blogging, it's all about consistency and
Yeah.
making sure that you show up and do it. And when people don't stick with it, anything with like your whole business has to be consistency and showing up, doesn't it?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
if we do bits and pieces, that's when I feel like what I see is less growth when people just do bits and pieces. It's like you can't build that momentum. But podcasting, blogging, anything to get yourself, plus you learn more about, the more you write and talk about it, you learn about your topic, and then you become more knowledgeable about it.
Love the title thought leadership for that, right? Because it really is like being a leader in certain topics and schools of thought and ways of thinking. I love that. I have a quick personal question before we move on. After having had a viral blog post, do you find that you're always like trying to hit that again, or do you just
I
let it go?
I love that. I used to, because it is addictive.
Yeah.
And when you suddenly, like, what happened when it went viral, I had phone alerts connected to my blog. So every comment, every like, my phone was going ding. And it was that first day I posted, it was going ding, ding, ding. It was just nonstop. And it gives you a rush. And it gives you a sense of, I'm important and I am valuable and somebody's listening to me. And
Mhm.
so it's funny because,
Interesting.
yeah, when that goes away, you're like, and it only goes away after a couple days, right? It doesn't, it's
Yeah.
15 minutes, right? It's the 15 minutes
Mhm.
of fame or whatever we want to call it. But when it goes away, I really had to reflect, and I felt like I crashed because suddenly I'm not getting this validation that somebody's listening to me and that I have something
Mhm.
valuable to give. And so I had to work through that too. So it's a great question.
Thank you. And I think it's so applicable to all of us with social, like, is my phone turned up? I'm not hearing those things, right? I posted
Yeah.
that really great comment. Like nobody's, I do think it's interesting, psychologically,
Mm.
reflection on where we're at in the world. Let's talk a little about leadership, but from through the filter of being a conscious leader. So a leader who's aware, and my definition of leadership and the way I mean this is not business owner, but like every person who's a professional, every person who's a person, right? So like whether it's leader as a parent who's maybe stays home with the kids and volunteers in the school. I mean, we all have chances
Mhm.
and opportunities to make our contributions and help improve our world. So if we were to look at this with conscious leadership, being aware, really being fully tuned in to that inner knowing and those inner voices, and however we want to define that. Is there one particular leadership moment maybe that stands out to you, or is there anything you would share around your perspective or practices around being a conscious leader?
Love this topic
I do too.
because, yeah, because when I think of leadership, it all starts with you. And what
Yeah.
I mean by that is, how do you lead yourself? How
Yes.
does your inner dialogue and your thoughts inspire and motivate you to do what you want? Because the way you lead yourself is a reflection on how you lead others. And actually, Vanessa, we've talked about this before. You remember my assessment that I do with people? It's called
Yeah.
energy leadership.
Yeah.
And so that shows us through this assessment, it's an attitudinal assessment. We get to see if we all see the world through different colored lenses, what are the colored lenses that you see the world through?
Mm.
And so we get to see it actually just maps out for us all of your perspectives. And the if you are talking to yourself and you see the world full of opportunities, then it's going to be easier to find the opportunities. But if you somewhere along the way were taught that no matter what you do, you don't have control over the outcome and you're living at the effect of everything around you, you're not going to think you can do anything. And in fact, a good example of what I mean by that is when I was in practice and I wanted to change desperately, I didn't think I had any other skills. And not thinking I had skills was actually saying, I don't have control, like I'm a victim. I don't have control of creating change. So I'm going to just not even try. And
Mm.
over time, I had to learn that I could play and have fun with this and it didn't have to be so serious and I could try things that didn't matter and I love side gigs and once I started shifting my mindset and my lenses to seeing that we can create opportunities. If I can do dentistry, this is the hardest job in the world. I can do anything. Most people can't do what we do, right? So if I can do this, I can do anything. That was me shifting from feeling like I had no possibilities to seeing that I have opportunities everywhere. And now it's just a matter of saying, what is the opportunity that I want, right? You have to see that the opportunities are there. And then once you start seeing them, you start seeing them. So this kind of internal leadership can be used in relationships. It can be used in your work. It can be used in practice with your clients. It could be used with your health, everything. And so leadership is how you lead yourself through every part of your life.
I've heard someone say the term self-managed leader, and I really liked that. So I thank you for reminding me about the assessment. I had not put two and two together. If someone were to reach out to you if they're wanting to find out more, is it something you include in your coaching?
I do it with everyone.
Oh,
It's
that's
so
awesome.
important. It's changed my life. The way I respond, it helps me see how I respond to stress and
Yeah,
talk about reacting to stress versus responding to stress, and
yeah,
so
right.
it's changed me. So I've decided for years I've included it with all the work I do with every client, and it's really amazing because it gives us a roadmap. It gives us a language that we can really apply.
That's awesome. How do we reach you?
Yes. So I have a Facebook group for all dental people. It's called Dentist Side Gigs. And we have lots of great discussions in there. If you like Instagram, I am Dr. Lola Bees, Dr. Lola Bees on Instagram. And my website is Lola Bees. Actually, here's a quick one. This will get you there. lolabees.me.
Oh, hey. I like them
Yeah.
quick.
I know. I made that one short. That gets you to lolabeescareercoaching.com.
Lola B Lola Bees. Sorry, LOLABEES.
Yeah,
Lola
like bumblebees.
dot com or dot me. That's perfect.
They can find me anywhere. You could even
Okay,
Google 10 reasons your dentist hates you and you can find me.
I'm trying
I
to
do
have
have a contact page on my website. I think my
okay.
contact form is best.
Okay, that sounds perfect. And so a couple things in what you were just sharing is you were talking, I thought, well, really you're talking about us understanding um, where we maybe could even develop skill sets that help us with our mindset. As you were talking about that leadership assessment and understanding how we all are, that was really powerful.
Mm.
Thank you for sharing. Anything else you'd like to share? Any other perspectives or practices in regards to conscious leadership? Something that's
Well,
helped you or help others?
yeah, I think so. Let's use the word empath because I have a different label for it using my assessment. But one of the things that I've learned about myself and a lot of people I work with is we are empaths.
Yeah.
So, what we do is we are very open to feeling other people's energy and other people's feelings and we see their side of things. We're very compassionate and caring people and we want to help those around us. So we're really good at putting ourselves in their shoes. And what I've found is in doing so, we dismiss what we think. So for many years, I didn't know who I was or what I wanted or what I even think. And I still have to work on it because I'm so good at seeing other people's stories that I dismiss my own. So I would say there's a really good practice that's helped me. This is consciousness, right? This is about looking in and pausing and asking myself what I feel, what I believe, what I think. And it really is about starting to know that I'm allowed. I'm allowed to think and feel what I feel. I don't have to hide or shapeshift to be like other people to make my patients happy or to make my clients or friends think I'm great. I can have my own opinions and that the more myself I get to be, the more permission I give others to be who they are.
That's freeing.
Yeah, it is.
And it's just, I feel like I just kind of want to exhale, just like, yeah, because we all have a purpose. It's inherent in all of us. We all have we're showing up exactly how we should. I
Yeah.
love that. So that really makes me think about living in alignment, right, with that, right? So we're talking about who we be and authentically showing up and leading, but also like this whole idea of purpose. What does living in alignment mean to you? Living in
Ooh.
alignment, right?
Yeah, I think it goes back to that. So you have to know who you are before you know what alignment is, right? And so
Mm,
for me, it's it's honoring, it's being able to say, actually, you know what? Listening to my feelings has been the best way of learning what alignment is because when you feel anxiety, if you feel anxiety every day when you go to work, that anxiety is telling you something. It's not it's not that, oh, I just have anxiety, I'm going to live with it. That's just the way I am. Sometimes, yeah, some people we do have a higher a predisposition to anxiety or depression or things like that. But when you let your feelings guide you, they tell you what's right and what's wrong. It's your gut. It's listening to your intuition. And so I think alignment to me is saying, this is what's important to me and I don't have to fit myself into someone else's picture of that. I don't have to fit myself into, I always say, I like to help people fit dentistry into their lives instead of fitting themselves into dentistry. And so it's just saying, like,
that's great.
I am not my career. I am not my work. I am a person who does these things. And the more I can give myself the freedom to also be this co holistic being, like comprehensive, like I have more than one piece of my identity, and I don't have to feel like I'm railroaded into one thing that over time pulls us away from If you just obsess with one thing and don't allow yourself to take care of yourself and do things you love in addition to the work you love, then you just get on that track of overachiever or workaholic.
Yeah, and that's addictive too.
It is
There's a lot of addictions.
still.
I heard you say you listen to your feelings. How do you know if you are living in alignment? What does that feel like? Or like you said, like what does that mean? Is it a feeling? Is it something you just know? Like what does that mean for you? To how do you know when you're in alignment?
That has taken me so long to learn. And I forever was trying to understand, what is intuition? What is it? I don't get it. How can I decipher my true intuition with maybe a fear? Right. And so I noticed there were several years ago, I had a big decision I had to make, and there was no easy solution.
Wow.
And one solution felt like the thing I should do, and the other solution felt like what I really wanted to do, but it was going to be a tough road. And what happened was I started watching, just watch. I watched every time the good solution came up, I would feel empowered and excited, and I didn't worry it. So this is the answer to your question. When you feel aligned, you feel empowered, you feel like nothing can stop you, you feel excited, you feel engaged. And every time I was trying to do the research to figure out which decision was better, and that decision would go away, and the other decision would sort of be my default, the decision that wasn't the one I really wanted, I would just cry. I was a puddle on the floor. I
Oh,
couldn't function. I had no hope.
heavy. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was when I was like, oh, I had a light bulb moment. And I was like, this is intuition. This is when you have a decision in front of you, or if you're paying attention to how you're living your life, whether it's aligned or not, how do you feel? And if you feel what I felt with that good decision, the exhilaration, the excitement, the hope, the possibility, that's alignment. And if you feel sad and crying and weak and hopeless and
Red flag,
depressed,
red flag.
yeah, that's your thing. Like I know what the answer is right here. We just have to see it. We just have to
Yeah.
stop and listen to it.
Yeah, so interesting, right? And I teasingly say red flag, but I mean there's situations like you in dentistry where it was actually purposeful. So it wasn't like you made a wrong turn. It was
Mhm.
just more of it's like the path segued. What about others who maybe are feeling like because they listen to our conversation today and they think, well, maybe I'd like some help with my career, trying to figure out what I'm meant to do or my purpose or what I want to do or however they word it. And those who feel called to continue that inner exploration and really shining a light inside on themselves. Could you tell us a little bit more about your amazing Portugal retreat that's coming up? Inside Gig Summit. Inside Gigs Summit or Gig? Inside
Gig.
Gig.
Yeah. Because so I have a program called Start Your Side Gig. And it's an amazing coaching group with wonderful dentists in there. And we help people become happier before they reach that goal, right? And studies show that happiness comes before success. We always think that success comes before happiness, right? So when I hit that achievement, then I'll be happy. But the truth is, it happens the other way around. So, Start Your Side Gig is my group coaching program. And I realized that the name of it's great. It tells you exactly what we're doing. We're helping you design your life however you want, but it doesn't show all the really deep work that we do to become the person you want to be. And you know that saying, wherever you go, there you are?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know how many times I've had dentists email me and on the phone tell me that I'm just worried that if I leave, if I quit dentistry or if I find a side gig or do something different, my problems are gonna follow me. And I'm like, with this kind of transition, leaving dentistry, you've invested so much to get here. Nobody just throws dentistry away. So, in order to give yourself permission to change in any way, you have to change from the inside. And so then when you find what's next, it might not be your perfect thing, but you're not the same person. That's going to open a door and you're
Good
going to
point.
go to the next thing because you're not the same person. So wherever you go, there you aren't.
Yeah.
Right. And so the Inside Gig Summit is, yes, a lot of times the vehicles we want a side gig, but it's an inside job. So I thought that was a lot of fun to say, we're hosting the Inside Gig Summit to help you work on yourself, get to know your vision, what's important to you in your life, what kind of work do you want to do, what do you even want your dental life to look like? It could be still in dentistry. It could be a side gig outside of dentistry. It could be a
Yeah.
whole new career, but it has to start with you. So we're gonna unpack and give you permission to know that you deserve to live the life that you want.
I love it so much. This is my jam, right? I love this type of
Yeah, I know.
work.
Yeah.
And Portugal. So if you want to see what Laura is putting together, and I strongly encourage you to do so, if you go to retreat.lolabeescareercoaching.com, so retreat.lolabeescareercoaching.com, you'll be able to see the gorgeous, right along the ocean side location in Portugal with this amazing home where sounds like it's going to be a small group. What's your max for people?
Small group. Well, we've got a villa with about 10 people, and I'm going to open it up to 10. It'll be no more than 20. So maybe 10.
Small.
Yeah, small
Lovely.
because
Love.
we need to be real and connect. And
Yeah.
sometimes when you're in a big group, it's too hard to do that. But we are gonna. Have you ever done this, Vanessa? I find that when you leave your environment, your everyday stresses of your environment, you can
Yes.
think clearly. And when you're with other people doing it, and that's why it's going to be so beautiful where we are, and it's just a really lovely area.
And that villa is gorgeous. I'm just so excited for you. And I
Thanks.
think that 10 to 20 people, it's small enough where you can really hold that container and everyone has a chance to really truly inhabit these new skills that they're learning. I'm super excited about that. Retreat.lolabeescareercoaching.com. Um, Before we leave our topic, are there any other practices or philosophies that you would want to share about anchoring, personal well-being, well-being? So we talked
Mhm.
about aligned living and what that means for us. We kind of talked about choices. It feels like, kind of like how we know. Are there any other practices or philosophies, just kind of like a short and sharp answer on that one, that would be your favorite for anchoring in our personal well-being?
Community.
Oh,
And yeah, and I'll say so I love Brene Brown's quote. Brene Brown, the very famous shame and vulnerability researcher,
yeah, I love
has a
her too.
quote, and she says that isolation breeds shame. And that hits home
Oh,
for me because when I was even when I had community around me, when I was in practice and I was living in the closet about not loving dentistry, I couldn't tell anyone. And I was
so
so
powerful.
ashamed and I felt stuck and I felt like a failure. And the other part of her quote is that empathy kills shame. And when my blog post went viral and people started sending me messages, and I didn't know that there were other people in the world, in the state, in the country, I didn't know anybody else
In the
was
city.
saying, yeah, I didn't know that anybody else was like, wow, I'm really unhappy in dentistry too. And that just made me immediately feel just it was okay. And so
Yeah.
community, connect with people. Do not stay on an island.
Wow, that is really a good reminder. Thank you. Just one more reason why we all should be building, should is the right word. I rarely say should, but really should be building our community at home, with our families and friends, but in work, and to be able, it's so important. What I also hear in there is so important to be able to talk,
Hmm.
be able to talk about what's on our hearts. And what a great reminder too, to be sure that we're the people that are listening and allowing others that space. Before we go, are there any one final thought you'd like to share with us as we wrap up this great conversation? And thank you so much for that. Is there maybe a truth that you find yourself turning to that you'd like to share, or just anything else that comes to mind. How would you like to leave us?
Well, before I leave that, because I want to be able to say thank you for having me,
Oh,
Vanessa.
you're
It's so
welcome.
lovely to
It's always
always,
great to see
I
you.
love, I know. And all this is right up our alleys, so it's
Yeah,
great. But you deserve it. You are worthy. Is like when I left dentistry, we are all overachievers, and I had to kind of shed that identity. And as I got into coaching and was growing it, I got sucked back into that overachieving. And what I learned recently was it was my way of proving my worth. And that doesn't serve
oh,
us. And so I leave us with we're all worthy, and we don't have to prove that through overachieving and people pleasing and all that stuff. We just are. We're like all your cats. Don't you love your cats so much without them having to make money and contribute? You love them. That we're like that.
they don't worry about that one bit. Yeah, 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 yes. All beings deserve that respect and that appreciation, that we're all worthy. We're here, which means we were meant to be here.
Love that.
Yeah, yeah. I love you. I'm just going to say
I
that.
love you too.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing from your heart. It was such great reminders and such some good new things. As we wrap up, again, thank you for sharing, and a reminder to everyone to like and subscribe so that you don't miss a future episode. Appreciate your reviews, and you can reach out to Laura at lolabeescareercoaching.com. If you're looking for the retreat, just put the word retreat in front of Lola Bees retreat period, lolabeescareercoaching.com. Look her up on social. I'll be sure and put the links in our show notes. And until next time, we're going to dance on out of here so we can be embodied. You're like, well, Laura's dancing. I don't know what Vanessa's doing. But until next time, that's right. Until next time, be well.